What's going on, guys? Welcome back to City Skylines, the city of Fremont. So, this is episode 2, and in this episode we are going to be working on quite a few things, actually. The first thing that we will be taking on for our agenda is the connection to the highway. Stuttered on that word, but yes, the connection to the highway so the city can, get traffic. So, what is happening on screen at the moment is I am taking a section of the highway that just kind of ended abruptly. It was never connected to the other portion of the highway that will be utilized later on, but currently not at the moment for obvious reasons. We just haven't gotten there yet. So, this section, it goes on a little curve, and as that curve expands, it creates 2 4-lane roads. At the moment, the highway is 3 lanes, but it expands to 4 lanes a little bit in the future, as you will see, as there are these little side roads that will be used to connect to that road, that avenue right there that the bridge clearly goes over. And right there is the 4-lane road, so I just had to push back so I can make this slope nice and smooth. That's something that I never really did in my previous city, but now in this one, I'm really, going for that extra push. So, enough with that. Whoa. As I'm recording this audio, by the way, I'm like currently within like my editing software, so every now and again it'll lag, and I can't really see what's happening during that lag spike. So if you ever hear me like stutter while speaking, it's because I don't know what's happening on screen. But aside from that tangent, as I was talking about previously, right here are those little side roads, single one-way streets that connect to the roadways, and they basically signify where the highway starts. Those get used to connect to the lower avenue that will be used later on for some neighborhoods and whatnot. Now, over here is an interesting part of this connection. So, basically, if you want to go in the opposite direction of the highway that you just came down on, you have to stop at a stoplight and then make that left turn. And it also leads into a little side street, which is pretty interesting. That's going to be set up as a neighborhood in the future, but at the moment, still currently working on the downtown. And I don't think I ever mentioned what was going to be happening in this episode. So let's just get that right out of the way. Clearly, we are developing the downtown of the city. Straight off the bat, I waited a couple episodes in my previous city, but I really want the downtown to be the first thing, and I'll expand my way outwards in the process. So, downtown, a church, and just a little bit of the surrounding buildings within the central downtown area. Now, as I've previously stated in the other video, episode 1, I said that this city will be much, much smaller than the previous city that I had built, which it is, and it is. So the skyscrapers that you saw me plop down just moments ago, that's really all the skyscrapers, all the tall buildings that you're going to see me put in this city. With the exception of these, well, these aren't really skyscrapers, but these, I guess, like 10, 12-story buildings along the sides, or no, what am I trying to say? These semi-tall buildings that you see surrounding the skyscrapers, that's also just within that general area. It's going to taper off very quickly, and it'll only be maybe 3 or 4-story buildings from then on. And then after that, it'll just be actually just some suburbs with houses, like actual houses. So, like I said, much, much smaller build, nothing very extravagant going on, just trying to keep it as a medium-sized, maybe even possibly a small American city. It's actually very reminiscent of the city that I am living in right now, so That's where a lot of the inspiration comes from. And actually, in the next episode, where I'm going to be tackling something else, it's actually going to be very, very similar to the city that I actually do live in. I'm not going to say what city that is, but if you can successfully guess it, well, good, good for you. You have a keen eye, or you just really like searching for things, or you just know me in real life and you subscribe to this channel and you're just going to say that. I know one person who has done that. So, geez, what did I even just say? Well, forget what I just said just then. Now we are working on a rail connection, making it a nice, very gentle slope. Also, a slope along a curve. I've never really done that before. I've also never really had a slope this gentle for trains before, which they would be in real life for obvious reasons. You know, trains can't really go up a very steep hill. So, that out of the way, we are currently back in the downtown area. If you notice, I put down some parking garages, and just like in the city where I live, there are a few parking garages. And actually, by a few, I mean maybe like 4 within a square mile. It's ridiculous. They're not even that used very heavily unless there's an event going on. But really, I'm just trying to model it. So I went ahead and I put those parking garages down, and they take up space, which is very inefficient for downtown of a city. But what are you gonna do? You can't really do much about it. So, moving on to the next topic, we have this little convention center, and this is also somewhat based off a real building. That building isn't usually a convention center; it's something else. But again, if you can like figure this out on your own, good for you. Jeez, what am I doing? This video's a mess. Whoa, what's happening over here? Okay, sorry, my screen froze again. So, over here we have a little bit of a sort of factory that I had, and this town, I guess, could have been very industrial based before that phased out, and these factories were left in the downtown area, I guess to rot, but they've been revitalized by the people living there, and now they are public housing, which is really nice. They are a loft. I believe this is from the Kansas City pack that you can find on the Steam Workshop. Give it a check. Got some really nice buildings that are part of it. So, just putting in some nice decorations, some nice grassy curb props by King Leno. These look really great. I use these all over the place in this build. I actually have I don't know, maybe 2 episodes worth of footage just backlogged. I'm currently editing the videos. Well, I'm just, I guess, putting that out there. So there is content already made. It just has to be edited, and, well, yeah, basically that's just it. Coming off that tangent, we are currently working on a little bit of a residential complex, a little bit of a condo complex going on right here, just across the street from the convention center. These condo buildings made by King Leno, I never really got to use them, unfortunately, at least until now, obviously. So I never had the chance to use these in my last city. I always had them, but never actually used them, like not even once. They just sat there. But now in this new series, I have the ability to use them however I please in just the way that I want them to be. And that's exactly what's happening right now on screen. So, rather than using parking decals, I went ahead and I decided to use these, what are they? The functional parking lots. Again, I'd never used these before either. So, I guess this series is really a first for everything. Let's see, what's going on? I'm setting up a little bit of a curb over here, but that gets taken out. What actually goes in there is a little bit of a, I believe it's called a corridor prop. It's kind of weird. You'll understand. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yep. Okay. That footage was lost. And it's a shame because this thing really got super detailed. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I kind of like hyped it up, but it doesn't even exist. So, well, you can see it better in the final cinematics, and I guess you could kind of see it over here. But basically, I'm just putting in these white tiles. There's also these tulip planters, some nice trees, the corridors, and I use the ploppable asphalt to cover up the concrete texture. Moving on right now, I'm currently working on just some more commercial buildings. There aren't really any residential buildings in this section of the town. It's kind of like that in real life. It's a bit of a mix of the two, but I personally thought that this section should be more. Well, actually, now that I'm looking at the scroll wheel, oh wait, there it goes. Okay, yeah, it changed. So I originally had put down some more residential buildings, but I eventually took them out off camera just before that cut, and I went ahead and put some commercial buildings in that corner. However, this section is low density residential, and it will be for the entirety of this stretch of road, as small as it is. But yeah, this will be a little bit of a neighborhood, and this neighborhood also has a little bike path that you can see over here. Never used the bike path before. Again, this city is a first for everything. So, that bike path, it follows the line, the train line, and it kind of arcs itself around the mound where the train line elevates, and eventually comes to an end right at that road. But I'll probably continue it further down. So, just putting in some more housing, not a whole lot of space as the bike path comes arcing in. So this is where space begins to run out, and I eventually end it right here with this corner building. But that is not the end for all that's going to happen right over here, because I do go a bit tree and prop crazy, and I put in tons and tons and tons of grass and trees and bushes. And it just looks really wild, very poorly maintained, as this, I guess, could be a lower income section of the town. So, I mean, it looks really nice. I mean, and it's not like super overrun. It's just, I guess, a field that nobody technically owns. Maybe the city owns, and they're too cheap on their budget to cut it down. But personally, I think it looks good, except for. Well, what am I saying? Not except for. This looks good too. I was going to say the city budget for that those trees that line the train tracks. No, those are supposed to be there. Those are supposed to be left alone and to their own devices, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So, over here. So, right now I am putting in these another little bit of a commercial district, just some lower level commercial buildings. Despite them being like only 5 or 6 stories tall, they are high density commercial. I mean, there's not really a problem with that, but I mean, when I say it's low level commercial, it's not like actually low level commercial. It's actually quite you need an education, I think, to work that job. And that's something that I actually don't have set up at all in this city. I unpaused the simulation for a little bit, and the population goes up to like 15 or 1600, and there is no education. So a lot of businesses start complaining, saying like, hey, we don't have enough workers, or we don't have enough educated employees or whatnot. So bit of an issue, but it will get worked out in the future once I finally get around to fixing that whole problem. And if you've noticed so far in this entire build, I have only been putting down, I've been only like manually plopping down the buildings. And that's something that I'm going to be doing for the rest of this city, so I can get it exactly the way I want it to be. And while zoning is like so much easier to do than what I'm doing, the buildings always like to upgrade to their maximum if the environment, if you could say, is just right for them. And that's not how I want it. I want there to be tall buildings next to small buildings. I want there to be small buildings in the downtown area. I want there to be tall buildings where there shouldn't be tall buildings, because it's supposed to simulate real life, and that's just how cities develop sometimes, as weird as it is. But yeah. So, moving on from that, I believe we are closing in on the final few minutes. Yes, we are. We are closing in on the final few minutes of this video, in which I will be creating a little bit of a cemetery with a church. Nothing too big. I'll definitely be making more cemeteries in the future, because, after all, this is a city, and people die every day, unfortunately. So we're going to need a lot more than just these graves. And if anything, this graveyard is pretty much full, with the exception of a few places. So yeah, definitely going to have to build some more cemeteries in the future. But right now, we are coming to the end of this video. I'm going to leave you guys with some closing cinematics. I'd like to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next video. You can always stay updated if you subscribe to the channel. Leave a like if you liked the video, or don't if you didn't. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.